I'd like to call the meeting to order. And Barbara, could you please call the roll?
We have Commissioner Sales, Holloman, Moss, and Cartwright present.
Thank you. I'd like to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope everyone had a wonderful holiday season, particularly our employees as well as our customers. I think you all know that this will be aired on Channel 35, and let's start with our report from the General Manager.
Actually, President Sales and Commissioners, I have no special item on the General Manager's report today in the interest of trying to follow through with Commissioner Holloman's rapid meetings and to make better use and efficient use of all of our time. We'll move straight forward to the rest of your agenda.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, though.
Yeah, no, it was intended as a compliment.
It was certainly intended to be so.
Yes, it sets a very high standard for some of us. Let's move forward with comments, requests from commissioners. Commissioner Parker?
Yes, thank you very much. President Sales, you know, this year, thus far, it's been a very dry year. And so I think it may be prudent
for the last couple of days?
Let's say the water season. The rainy season has not taken place. And I just looked at the 10-day forecast for Mammoth Lakes, and it's nice and sunny for the next 10 days. And therefore, I think it may be prudent for the water system to issue a very brief report, nothing voluminous for the Commission, on what tools they have in their toolkit, and as we're going forward. And I know right now that DWP customers are already saving water, and they're well below the base year that in their use. But I'd like to hear what other tools we're thinking about in this coming year, as we are very likely not going to get the same water supply that we did last year from the Eastern Sierra. So that's one quick report, nothing voluminous. The second one has to do with new legislation. Governor Brown this last year signed 760 new bills into law, and they're coming into effect. And I would just like to see a brief summary of how these pieces of legislation may be affecting DWP planning and operations.
Yeah, we should do that. And, of course, it would be just those that affect the department you're asking about.
Exclusively, yes. Not all 760.
I think that's helpful. So, good. Any other requests? Commissioner Holloman, Commissioner Moss?
Yeah, I have a couple. Mr. Nichols, it was referred to in the minutes that we are about to approve, but we requested a report on excess property held by the DWP, and we were expecting to receive a briefing on that. I just wanted to remind you about that and ask that if you can to perhaps even schedule something for the next meeting of the board, so that we can get a presentation on what the status is of the excess property report and where we go from there.
Yeah, my recollection is Commissioner Moss made that request some time ago.
Yeah.
So.
He did, and we are pulling together a report on that. Our real estate holdings are pretty far and wide, as I'm sure you can appreciate, Commissioner Moss. And we have done some independent work by Cosmont companies who had undertaken some evaluations. They're actually in the second phase of that piece of work. And I don't know, Gary, if you can add a little bit of color with regard to where we are in the status of getting that information together.
The second phase has been completed, and that the presentation is being scheduled.
Will it happen the next meeting?
We will try for the next meeting.
Okay.
For as soon as possible. All right, anything else, Commissioner
Yeah,
Moss?
two other things. Just a query as to what's going to happen with our 2012-2013 budgeting process. If you could just give us a little heads up as to when we're going to start considering the budget. I know that we have to consider it earlier now than we have in the past.
We are, and we're going to have that at our next meeting on the 17th, and there'll be twofold. There will be one with respect to clarifying what our balance of the current fiscal year budget is. You will recall this last summer we had presented as a contingency item. It's always good to have a contingency plan of a zero rate action case and the budget that goes along with that. In effect, that's largely where we are for the balance of this year. So we will present to you what the balance of this next 6 months looks like for that budget with some minor modifications to what we presented last end of July. And we will be presenting the budget for the next fiscal year as well, and anticipating that we'll present that in two modes also. A zero rate action budget, which will be extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, quite frankly, to undertake for at least the entirety of the department. And then what anticipated budget would be based on the planned rate adjustments that we are now modifying based on where we are in the year right now, based on where we anticipate going forward, and based on the comments that we received from our rate process last summer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, one more?
No.
Okay. Anything else? Let's turn to public comment. I believe we have speaker cards.
Yes, I have one card for item number 4, and that's Tony Wilkinson.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, President. Tony Wilkinson, the Neighborhood Council, Department of Water and Power MOU Committee Chair. I did notice that on the agenda today, you've got a closed session for California Code 54957.6. And this provides for discussion with the agency's representatives to its labor partners. And it permits discussion of salaries and benefits, but more significantly, available funds and funding priorities. Now, of course, the content of this closed session is private to the board, but to me, no issue appears as important to this utility at the start of 2012 as adequate coverage and rates for its operations. I have friends who have suggested that the department's labor organizations are not enthusiastic about the creation of a ratepayer advocate. I maintain that no one has more interest in adequate rate coverage than our labor partners. A ratepayer advocate is the best way to minimize the political component of rate actions and assure this department of regular consideration of its revenue needs. No one likes rate increases, but the longer the inevitable is delayed, the more economic hardship will be caused to low-income communities like my Panorama City. I hope this board will authorize a discussion of this issue with our labor partners. They are smart, savvy politicians and share the department's interest in this issue. These are the right partners, and this is the right time to have this discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wilkinson. Other public comment?
That was the last card for number 4.
Okay, let's turn to item 5, approval of the minutes. Are there comments on the minutes? If not, there's a motion.
So moved.
Oh, one comment.
Mr. President, I need to recuse myself. I was not present at the October 18th meeting.
Huh?
Or I need to abstain, not recuse.
We have a problem.
Yeah.
Eric was not there. I was.
Yeah, okay, we'll have to defer approval of the minutes till next meeting, till
Okay.
Commissioner Noonan returns. So we now turn to the consent agenda. We're going to pull item 11, put that on discussion agenda. Are there other items from the consent agenda that the commissioners would like pulled?
Number 10, please.
Okay, we'll pull 10, all right. Any other items? So is there a motion to approve?
We have a speaker card for number 12, I think it is.
That's 12, okay. Any other speaker cards? Okay.
Not for the...
Is there a motion to approve items 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 13, 14?
I thought you were pulling 11?
I said 10, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'd like to pull 13, please.
Okay, let's start again. So is there a motion to approve items 6, 7, 8, 9, 11, 14, 15?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I thought you were pulling 11, though, to speak on it.
I am, that's why I skipped it when I said, okay, let me try one more time. I want a motion to approve 6, 7, 8, 9, yes, 14 and 15. You were right. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? Those items are approved. Okay, let's go to item 11.
Item 10.
Ken wasn't pulled, right?
He pulled 10.
You pulled 10.
He pulled 10, yes.
No, I'm confused.
Yeah,
And I have just one quick question.
Okay.
okay. So let's go to item 10.
Hi, Mr. Pettijohn, how are you?
Oh, very good, Commissioner Parfrey. I'm David Pettijohn. I manage the Water Resources Group here at the department. This is DeLon Kwan, and he manages the water supply assessments that we prepare.
Thank you. In reading over the proposed project at the Barlow Hospital, I noted that there is, in that plan, 34,000 square feet of parking that is going to be developed there. And my question is, could we make a request that the pavement, we could put in bioswales, or if that asphalt could be permeable so that the aquifer could be fed from this facility rather than that water merely going into the storm drains and out to sea?
Well, we do ask the developers typically to do what is above and beyond what's required by the law, and we provide them with several suggestions on how to do that. They take some of the suggestions, they don't take others. We could go back and ask them to consider doing more than what they've committed to do in this water supply assessment. We could do that. If you would like us to do that, we can.
I think we're looking at water supply issues here, and so it makes sense to me that we would be enhancing the water supply within our city boundaries, and if the soils are of such a nature that they can take some of the rainfall in that area and it can contribute to our aquifers, it seems to make sense that it's aligned within the mission of what we're trying to do here.
We can certainly make that request. The thing to keep in mind is that there are certain things that we can require by law and certain things we can't. But we certainly can go back and speak with them and express your concerns and encourage them to consider doing that. We can do that.
Yeah, it just seems reasonable to me.
Okay.
Just one additional note, the developer has gone above and beyond what the ordinance requirement is, and they have achieved an additional 13% reduction in the total potable water demand.
Right.
So they have gone above and beyond to go the extra step, I guess.
And I was pleased to read that they are also going to access recycled water as well. So it appears that they're doing some good things at this time.
No, that is our policy, like DeLon said, to explain to them what the law requires, what they have to do, but also to explain to them other things that we would like to see them do in these water supply assessments. And typically they do respond to that, and the Barlow Hospital developer did respond to that, but we can go back and talk to them again.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, Commissioner Parfrey?
No, thank you.
Is there a motion on item 10?
There is.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? Item 10 passes. We're going to go into closed session on item 11.
Correct.
Okay. Richard?
Okay, if you want to have it here, or do you want to
No,
go?
we'll go.
Actually, before, if it would be possible,
You want to do 19?
if we could bring 19 forward first.
Sure. Don't you want to finish the consent agenda before we bring 19? We can do it either way.
If it were possible, in the interest of time, so you have the remaining item 13 still that's being pulled, correct?
Yeah. 12 and 13.
Oh, and 13.
Yeah.
No, we can go ahead and break for the closed session.
Richard?
Okay, we'll go into closed session, and the board shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention of every member present thereon in accordance with Section 54 and 957.1 of the California Government Code.
Yeah, and just for the benefit of the staff and public here, we don't expect to be in closed session more than 15,
Probably 20 minutes, I would guess.
less than half an hour. So, okay. Let's adjourn to closed session.
think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Recording.
We're back in open session. Let's go to item 11.
Move approval. Second.
Any objections? Item passes. I believe we have a speaker for item 12.
Yes, I have a speaker card for item 12. The speaker is Renee Luke.
Welcome.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
All of you. I'm here representing Management Employees Association, and they're in opposition to the reestablishment of the Chief of Drafting Operations, only because MEA believes that this is a meet and confer issue. This position is not new. I mean, this classification isn't new. It was abolished, but before it was abolished, it was an MEA classification, and it had been accreted to MEA by the Employee Relations Board in 1997. The classification has not changed, the class spec has not changed, so it stands to reason that this class would continue to be an MEA class. And as such, the department should be in good faith conversations with MEA about salary and other terms and conditions of employment. In addition, MEA has filed an unfair employee relations practice with the Employee Relations Board on this very matter, and it was filed in November of 2011, and it's pending. So the MEA believes that the board shouldn't act upon this until that complaint is settled.
Mr. Barr, able to comment on this? Please? No? Okay. Any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any objection? Item passes. Item 13, I believe we pulled off. Yeah. Commissioner Moss, I think you have some questions. Who's presenting item 13? You want to just ask your questions, or would you like more of a presentation?
Well, no, if someone's available.
Right.
Oh, okay, hi. Okay. Just a couple of quick questions. Prague is the vendor. What have they done? We're being asked to extend their contract a little bit. And, I'd like to know what have they done and, what deliverables have they given us?
Prague, or Public Resources Advisor Group, is one of our 3 financial advisors. They help, they assist us in issuing our bonds from reviewing the official statements till pricing and when the bonds are closed. We also ask them to provide financial advice regarding the municipal market. They have provided us, they have reviewed restructuring ideas that the investment bankers would once in a while provide us. Last year, we have restructured our power system debt and water system debt, and they provided valuable advice on those in terms of structuring maturities and how to approach the market, as well as investors. They have also provided advice on how to approach rating agencies. They contributed in the rating agency presentations that we've had with the rating agencies.
Here, let me interrupt. It sounds like basically, and I misspoke, we're not extending the contract. We're merely adding more money to the existing contract. So I want to correct that for the record. But is it a function that they spent more money earlier on in the year or during the term of the contract than they had originally anticipated, and that's why they need another couple $100,000?
We had a restructuring last year, which were not anticipated when we initially estimated the amount of contract.
So the answer to this question is yes.
Yes.
Right? Yes.
Okay. All right. And then my other question is that in the board briefing letter, you said that you're going to wait until spring of 2012 to begin putting out the contract for bid when it expires in July 2012. I just want to, I will not agree on any form to any extension of this contract. I would encourage you to not wait until the spring of this year, but get started on the bidding process now.
Yes.
Because I will not approve any extension of this contract, in July if it comes to it. So I just wanted to get that
Fair point.
clear.
We've said that before. Get started earlier. Don't bring us these contracts at the last minute. So
Okay.
Yes, we
you
have
should need
drafted.
the commissioner's advice.
Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
Other questions on 13? Is there a motion to approve 13?
There is.
Second? Second. Any objections? Item passes. Let's go to item 19. Ron.
President, Sales, and Commissioners, we have an item on our agenda here for you with regard to taking action on approving the benefits as to relocation and temporary living for a new CFO. Before we get into that topic, I wanted to make a few remarks regarding that. First of all, I know Ann Santilli, our interim CFO, is not here today. She's on vacation. And I would prefer that she be here, but I have extended these comments to her already, in that she has done an outstanding job since October of 2010. I think that's far longer than she ever anticipated when she signed up for being interim CFO. On that, and she has really done a great job in terms of filling in that position at a time. And she filled in at a time that is really the start of what is going to be an extended period of a lot of challenge for the department in the financial area as we deal with our increased capital program and the increased debt requirements associated with that, the challenges of those costs and the rate pressures that will create. We're already experiencing that now. That isn't going to change. Also has started at a time when we're increasing our collaboration between the financial services organization and our water and power systems to get more collaborative planning on the financial side. All of those increased pressures and the fact that they aren't just short-term or interim issues, in part is why I wanted to go outside and bolster our capabilities because we need Ann in her position as head of accounting and financial reporting, which she's been doing double duty on and trying to deal with that during that period of time. So I'm very pleased with the work that she's done, and I'm equally pleased to introduce Phil Leiber to you. He's here with us today. He has 20 years of experience in the industry and in the financial industry, and over 15 years in the utility industry.
Phil, why don't you wave your hand?
And he will be coming up. Phil will be coming up, making a few comments in a few moments. But he's presently the CFO at Seattle City Light. I want you to assure there's no Seattle conspiracy here, just because I happen to move down here from Seattle. He'll tell you about his experience there. He also spent a decade at the California ISO in increasing areas of responsibility, ending at CFO there. I also want to dispel any rumors that bringing him on board has changed in any way my or the rest of DWP's views of maintaining our separateness from the Cal ISO, other than working in their auxiliary, their ancillary services market. He can give you a little bit of flavor for his challenges there. But clearly the types of work that he has done, both with Seattle City Light and his experience at the Cal ISO in terms of understanding the greater California market overall, I think is helpful to us and a good background for that. So we have before you today the approval of his relocation package, and very excited about the prospect of having Phil join us.
Before I ask Phil to come up, I just want to say I had an opportunity to interview several candidates for this position. We really had a very good group of candidates. I was really impressed with several of them. I think all of you know, perhaps other than the general manager, there's no more important position here in the department. This CFO position is critical to the things we're trying to do now. I really do agree with the selection of Phil. I think he's the right person for the job now. I think his experience, both in terms of depth and breadth, will help us tremendously. I think that we are very fortunate to have him. I very much support the relocation package as a part of his overall compensation package, which is critical to attracting someone of Phil's stature, someone I think we desperately need. And the last thing I want to say is I really want to thank Ann Santilli, who is, as Ron mentioned, is not here today, for her work for well beyond the period we expected her to step in, and she did a really wonderful job. And with that, Phil, why don't you say a few words?
Good afternoon, Mr. President, Commissioners. I'm Phil Leiber. I want to thank Ron for extending the invitation to join you folks in Los Angeles. It is a distinct privilege to serve at the largest municipal utility in the country. I'm coming from Seattle City Light, which is the third largest municipal utility in the West Coast. And I can say I'm glad to be coming back to California. I've spent most of my adult life in this state and consider this home. Ron told you the two organizations I've worked for most recently. At Cal ISO, I was involved in the startup and going through the energy crisis and dealing with the aftermath of all that. I can tell folks I was not involved in the market design or any issues of that nature, so I was the financial person. At Seattle City Light, I've spent the past 3 years dealing with issues like the low water years, the fallout from the recession, trying to stabilize the finances of that utility, and then looking ahead, dealing with many of the same issues we're dealing with here in LA. I have enjoyed working collaboratively and openly with stakeholders during my time there. I know that's something that's very important to the policymakers and the public here at LA. That's something I look forward to doing. I'm desirous of working with the new ratepayer advocate, have an open dialogue and flow of information to help that important role and person do their job. I have been dealing in Seattle with many of the same issues that you folks are dealing with here, financing an aging infrastructure, an aging workforce, and the need to bring on new people and have knowledge transfer, regulatory requirements, renewable mandates. Those are all issues that are very familiar to me. It's interesting to note as well that the rate increases that we were looking at in Seattle are very comparable to what you're seeing here. So these are things that the whole industry is having to deal with. And it's almost surprising that the rate increases aren't higher given the magnitude of the generation replacement challenge that you face here in LA. So I am looking forward to working with the talented and experienced financial services staff. I've met a number of them in the past and more of them today, so their reputation precedes them, and look forward to working with them. In conclusion, providing clean, reliable, and affordable power and water is a mission that I very much look forward to being a part of. I recognize there's greater challenges to providing all three of those goals than in the past, but I'm sure just as the department has overcome significant issues and challenges in past decades, we'll do the same meeting these goals. And I do look forward to serving the GM, the mayor, this board, the council, and most importantly, the people of LA in executing these responsibilities. Thank you.
Thank you, and welcome. Is there a motion on item 19?
There is.
Second. Any objections? Hearing none, item 19 passes. Item 16.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Marty Adams with Water Operations Division. Item 16 is a request for the board to approve my division to provide the public notification to start the process by which we would increase the sewer rates in the town of Independence. A few of you may have been involved back in 2009 and 2010. We attempted to do this before and actually had a successful Prop 218 challenge, where more than 50% of the sewer charge payers objected to the submitted written objections to the rate increase, and so the rate increase did not go through. What this is a sewer service charge that's been put in place in about 1975 by this board and has not been increased since. In the board letter, I think on page 4, there is probably the most important point is what the comparable sewer service charges are in the state of California and also for small populations, and you'll see pretty quickly that the rate that we're currently charging Independence is pretty much out of sync. So this is to begin the process. We've already had a couple public meetings with the community up there, but we need to have approval to start the official notification process, and then you would expect to see us back anywhere from maybe 2 to 4 months from now with an actual sewer service charge proposal for you to approve.
Mr. President. Yes, Mr. President, I have a few questions. Thank you. Do you feel that we're doing something different than what transpired in 2009 and 10 pursuant to Prop 218 so that we'll get a different result?
There's two things. The end game is the same, trying to get to about $21 a month for the residential charge. We're looking to do it over a longer period of time in 5 steps. It was about half the period of time before in 3 steps, so we're hoping that although it's certainly comparable where they'll end up with every other community, it is going to be a shock compared to what people are used to paying. So we're trying to ease it in more gently, and I think that the community up there, while they don't like the notion of any kind of increase, they understand that that's a much more preferable way to go. The other is that we had talked before about trying to sell or get someone else to take over the sewer system. There's a lot of opposition to that. If it was privately owned, then the PUC would set a rate, and the rate could be substantially higher. I think that the fact that we're not including that language as part of this issue, we're just trying to come out whole on this, will make this more palatable. I'm not saying there won't be a challenge, but I think that we're doing a lot more outreach and a lot more explanation with the public than we've done. And at this point, all we can really do is try to move forward.
Yeah, but I don't think you answered this question. It's clear. Do we believe our position is more legally defensible now than it was 2 years ago?
I think they're both equally legally defensible. I think it's just whether it'll be challenged or not. I think we have a better odds of not having a successful challenge than we did last time. I think because more people understand the whole picture, hopefully not everyone will be against us.
So
It's a very small community.
Who's our 218 expert? Is that you, Richard?
Right.
Brian, why don't you come up?
Yeah, I'm very curious about selling off this utility. I mean, if I read the board letter correctly, this last year we're operating at a $130,000 loss on just O&M.
So probably not quite that much, but somewhere $90,000 or $100,000 right now.
Yeah.
So where do we stand with respect to a potential 218 challenge?
Well, I'm Brian Stewart, Deputy City Attorney. In regards to Prop 218, I was not here in 2009, but my understanding, when something gets challenged, Prop 218 allows you to allows the customers to consider the proposed charges and file written protests. And so when they challenged it, they had more than 50%, so they were able to prevent the charge from being imposed. So it's not necessarily a legal challenge saying that your proposal was illegal. All it's saying is you don't have a majority, so you can't go forward with this particular proposal at this time. And so now we're bringing forward a slightly different proposal with a different time frame.
No, I understand Marty's response.
Under a 218 challenge, let's say there are more than 50% of the customers challenging it. Is that the end of the game, or can we then appeal it somehow or continue going forward with the rate increase?
I don't think there's really an appeal process, but I believe you are allowed to try again.
Which is what we're doing.
Which is, exactly.
Yeah. So I think the answer is no. Yeah.
And when you have 300 or so customers, 218 is normally not successful, but the small communities is one chance that.
If we weren't, for argument's sake, if we weren't able to get the rate increase approved, if there was a successful 218 challenge, could we then make a move towards selling off the sewer service?
Yes.
And would they be able to challenge that under 218 also, or is that a different
I don't
matter?
believe that's counted.
That wouldn't be a basis for a 218 challenge.
Yeah, they challenge under other
Okay.
grounds.
Thank you.
Well, I'm prepared to support this item, but with a very strong message that if it appears that there's going to be the same level of opposition, that we shift and we move towards looking into selling off the sewer system. We have to be very clear that that's an option. I think all of the commissioners hold is something that would be a preferred option than continuing with the status quo.
Okay.
I'd agree that's our only other option.
Yeah, we don't want to continue to lose money on this.
I move approval.
Second, is there a second?
There is.
Any objections? Item passes. Item 17. I think this matter was deferred from the past. I think my recollection is Commissioner Moss had some questions.
Yeah, and I think Commissioner Noonan had some questions about it, too.
And I do have 2 speaker cards for 17.
Well, let's hear the speakers first.
Okay. The first speaker is Karen Rothberg.
I'm not Karen Rothberg, but I'm going to go first, if that's all right with you.
Okay, you're Daniel?
I defer to Dan Dawson.
Daniel Dawson, okay.
My name is Dan Dawson. I'm the director of the Sierra Nevada Aquatic Research Laboratory. The proposed action item, extension of or a new 30-year lease for the site on department-owned land, is a continuation of a very long and successful partnership between the University of California, Santa Barbara and the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power. And we urge you to approve the lease and allow us to move on with various important aspects of business. The Sierra Nevada Aquatic Research Laboratory, commonly known as SNARL, is a major center for research and university-level teaching in the eastern Sierra Nevada, Central California, and the Owens Valley. The site has been used for research for over 80 years. From 1935 to 1972, it was leased by the federal government, the then U.S. Bureau of Sport, Fisheries, and Wildlife. And since 1973, has been leased by Regents of the University of California for operation of SNARL. The site is very actively used for research, college-level instruction, and public service, which is mainly in the form of K-12 science instruction. It's part of a University of California system called the Natural Reserve System and is one of the most heavily used and productive sites in the system. All of these things we think are substantial public benefits to both the citizens of the state of California as well as the ratepayers. We've very recently been selected as a participant in something called the National Ecological Observatory Network. This is a large 30-year National Science Foundation funded project that will assess and forecast the impacts of things like climate change, land use change, and invasive species on ecosystems all over North America. There's only 20 sites selected around the United States, and this is one of the key sites. I believe that's the end of my time. We're mainly here to respond to questions. We believe that we have responded both in writing and personally to all of Commissioner Noonan's questions that she raised at the October hearing, and I think myself and my associate and the staff can answer any questions that you might have. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have another speaker?
The other speaker was Karen Rothberg.
Ms. Rothberg?
Karen Rothberg. Mossberg, Director of Real Estate over at UCSB, and I'm going to defer. I just wanted to be available for questions if there are any questions after the presentation by staff. Thank you.
All right. Floor is yours.
This was a holdover item that was deferred from several meetings ago. Most of the questions, as I recall, by Commissioner Moss and Commissioner Noonan, were about the appropriateness of the fees that we were charging, and also about other land use opportunities at the area. One thing is clear: in this location, use in this at the Snarl location went back to when fisheries were trying to be established, and fish hatcheries were viewed as an economic benefit to the Eastern Sierra. And so this started out with a fish hatchery on this property and later became a research center. If there was not research being done there would probably not be any other appropriate use for the property. We really acquired the property to protect the watershed, and so that's our highest goal there. And there's no other property like it around there that we allow any other uses on. So we don't really see any use other than that's compatible with our core mission, other than the use we have here. One thing that's changed in this is that in the past, most of these leases have been for just an administrative fee of about $500 a year, which is still what we do for things like the Bishop City Park and things that are public facilities that are in towns. But what we've done here, we did do an appraisal, and we also, we had a question about how the appraisal was done. Our staff does the appraisals because there's really no comps in the area, since all the property owners are us or the Forest Service or BLM, so in some of the state of California. We do know that we had some comparable values from Caltrans, and so although the price per acre looks fairly low on this, it's very reasonable, actually a little more than what Caltrans recently let some property go for. And our policy up there has been to try to get about 5% of the assessed value back as an annual fee. So this lease goes from a very nominal administrative fee to starts at $1,100 a month and goes to $1,200 a month. And that's for the first 5 years. Then they'll renegotiate, and that's about half of what that 5% would be. So our goal over the course of the first few years, after the 5 years, is to get to market rate for this, so that we will be charging the appropriate lease amount comparable to a private entity up in the basin there. And so, although it doesn't look like much money compared to what we see down here, we do think it's consistent with everything else that's done in the Owens Valley. And I don't know if there's any particular questions that we had about this. We did meet with Commissioner Noonan. I'm sorry she's not here today, but she had some specific questions that I think she was satisfied with the answers we had for her.
You want to add anything?
No, I think Marty pretty much covered it. Like I say, it has been a long-term lease with the Santa Barbara School, and a good partnering with us back and forth. As Marty indicated, there's no other use. I think if they weren't there, we would probably just tear the buildings down and return it back to a natural state. It wouldn't be something that we would lease out again. So, and I think they do provide a valuable facility for our young to come in and be educated, especially in the area, and then also from colleges coming in to use it for research.
Commissioner Moss?
Marty, just a quick question for him. I'm a little curious. If our policy is to try and get 5% of the value, sort of ground lease rate, why are we satisfied with 2.5% for the first 5 years?
We're easing into it just because it's not something, as the UC system's got a lot of challenges financially, like we all do, and we're basically trying to ease into it because it's not something they'd accounted for in their budgeting processes. So we're basically just trying to rate shock. We're trying to slowly step into the process. So that's the only reason.
No, I understand that, and I am supportive of the lease. I have been since the outset, but I'm not real comfortable with the rate shock kind of analysis. I mean, the UC should pay what we want to have them pay, and if it's a reasonable use for them, they'll pay it. They'll find it, and I don't like the idea that we're going to set a policy and then we're going to be real flexible on the policy. I think once we have a policy, we should set it and go for it. And to make a lot of exceptions, eventually you're going to swallow the rule.
And we don't have a whole lot of exceptions to this. I mean, what's happened is that we've typically, we basically have three separate UC systems up there. We have White Mountain Research Station, we have Caltech, and we have UC Santa Barbara up there with Snarl. And typically what we've tried to treat the governmental agencies as we would want to be treated, that, okay, hey, we're doing business to business, government to government, and we've charged a minimum fee. And as Marty said, maybe we should have just jumped right up to the top.
Yeah, I can assure you that if the situation were reversed, the regions would charge us the full amount of their policy. I have no doubt about that.
How can you assure that? I'm a former regent. How can you say that?
I can say that because the UC system is in need of money right now. I'm sure they would.
As a former regent, you absolutely cannot say that.
All right.
It's not true.
All right. We'll agree to disagree.
It was a judgment call on our part. We're certainly open to any suggestions.
Mr. President, might I make a comment?
No. Nope. Other questions?
No, Clarence, you mentioned that there were three governmental agencies, and one of them being Caltech. I would love to expropriate Caltech into the UC system, but I think it's a private institution.
Yeah.
Other questions?
They're definitely all for profit.
I'd like to make a motion.
Is there a motion?
I'd like to move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any objections? Item passes. Item 18.
Yes.
Item 18.
Yes.
Who's up for that one?
I will be presenting. Similar to the approval requested for the power system variable rate bonds 2 months ago, item 18 is the approval of the standby purchase agreement for the $225 million water system bonds with RBC, or Royal Bank of Canada, to replace the contract, the current agreement expiring next month with two other banks. Currently, the water system pays an annual fee of 110 basis points, or $2.5 million annually. With the new agreement with RBC, the annual fee will be reduced to 29 basis points at $660,000 annually, saving the water system almost $1.9 million annually for the next 3 years.
Questions on this one?
Approval.
Is there a second?
There is.
Any objections? Item passes. We're on to our board letters, our monthly activity reports. Any questions or comments?
Go ahead.
Sorry. I'm looking at the financial services board letter, and I noticed that on the discount side that we've dipped down to 85.1% of our potential discounts, where we've routinely received regular reports that our discounts have been in the 92 to 95% range. And I'd like to understand why we are declining in our savings on discounts.
Anyone respond to that?
I don't have the answer to that. We can send an information letter.
Treat it as a request for...
Can you then treat it as a request, please?
Yes.
And I also noted that on the power side, we have additional revenue of $41 million that we were not anticipating or had not budgeted for, and I was just wondering why.
That was part of the estimated payments that we make on the IPP. It's about $1 billion budget, with the O&M and the fuel costs and everything else that we're doing, and also the prepayments that we had on the bonds, and that's the true-up that we get as an adjustment.
Thank you. That's sufficient.
Any other questions, Commissioner Moss?
Yeah, I have one question on the finance letter under the risk control and credit section, where we talk about our natural gas financial hedges. If I'm reading this correctly, we've spent $2.6 million in the hedges. Am I?
I'm sorry, on the power?
On the risk control credit, it's on page 4.
On the gas hedges.
With the national gas financial hedges. Top third of page 4.
Yes.
These are settlements for the month of October. We have hedges in place, and they're settled at the end of each month, depending on what the price is at the time compared to the price that we contracted with.
And then in the narrative there, it also says that since the inception of the program, we've resulted in a net cash outflow of $193 million.
This was way back. The inception of the plan was in 2001.
Now, I'm just wondering, has there ever been has anyone sat down and considered, the propriety of the Hedges program?
Yeah, let me answer that. The answer to that is yes, we have, and we've had an independent assessment of that hedging program. And hedging programs, sometimes you're in the money, and sometimes you're out of the money. And at the end of the day, the overall intent of a hedging program, as I think was discussed before the board here, recalling right, we did have that separate review that was presented several meetings back. And the overall objective of a hedging program is to try to maintain yourself within certain bandwidths and to maintain reasonable certainty of your costs. Now, that doesn't mean that because you're not trying to time the market, and you're not trying to bet the market. What you're trying to do is maintain some stability. So we believe we have maintained stability. We have constantly, as a result, as any utility would in this position, we go back and take a look at have our programs worked? Are there things that we can do to refine them? And we, in fact, have made some adjustments to our program based on more recent experience. But I think all in, certainly compared to going out unhedged, we're far better off to provide ourselves that bandwidth of certainty that gives us certainty with respect to our cost recovery, and it gives better certainty with respect to our customers who pay our rates.
How often is that analysis being done, just looking at the hedging program and making sure that we're within the bandwidth?
Well, we do it at least annually. I don't recall whether we're formally doing a quarterly update on that or not.
The ordinance requires an independent audit of the transactions every year. In terms of the propriety, I think that we just did one recently.
Let me try to put this in simple terms. It's a relatively inexpensive insurance policy that we're buying, right? Sometimes you wish you didn't have it, but when you need it, you really want to have it, right? And sometimes you pay for it and you don't use it, right? But the problem is when you have a disaster, right? It's disaster avoidance is what you're paying for, in essence. Is that
It is, and I guess I always kind of liken it to the fact that I'd much rather pay my fire insurance premiums and never have my house burned down. And that's sort of what a hedging program is about. The difference of it is that given when you're hedging a fuels commodity, at times it can be a little bit more volatile. Things can change a little bit more than the price of insurance can change at times. So sometimes you look good and sometimes you look bad. It is a temporal issue. But when you're within those bounds and you're paying a price that gives you assurance, and for us, it's the way of doing business, and it's a way to be able to plan on a long-term basis without exposing ourselves to those high swings.
And it is that very volatility that leads you to hedge.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
Absolutely. If we knew that we could enter into 20-year natural gas agreements at a specific price, and knew that the other party was guaranteed to be able to deliver that price for 20 years, we probably wouldn't hedge. But that's not the real world, unfortunately.
Other questions? That's a good point the Commissioner raised. Is there a motion?
Well,
no, I'm sorry. There's no motion.
I did note in the Power System Monthly Report, though, that the Pinedale Gas Supply, looking at that from 2005 onwards, that we've saved $58 million for the city. So I consider that a form of hedging that has a very positive outcome.
It is indeed a physical hedge for us. It provides us a great opportunity.
Any other questions on any of the reports? So those reports are deemed filed. Item 21, comments on the RPS projects update. Questions or comments? Anything else for the good of the cause? I want to really commend Commissioner Moss, since he's a proud banana slug that he took on UC today. I know it shows that he really is an open-minded person. So. Thank you. Any other comments? The meeting's adjourned. Thank you. We'll go into
Closed
closed session again. Yeah, number 2.
Same.
Same, close, same thing. Okay.